The city of Jingdezhen in Jiangxi province is known as China's ceramics capital. Its porcelain was not only favored by the imperial court, but also dazzled the world by way of the Silk Road. Today, a new generation of artists are pouring in from all over the world to the city where people live and breathe porcelain. Ryan Labar from the United States is one of them. He set up a workshop in Taoxichuan, a bustling arts community in Jingdezhen. Take a look.
For ceramic artist Ryan Labar, Jingdezhen is a second home. He says his first encounter with Jingdezhen was full of romance.
2011, I did a residency in Shenzhen and visited Jingdezhen during that residency for 3 days, and then I always wanted to come back.
Labar is from the United States. He returned to Jingdezhen in 2015 on the invitation of the local government. He soon set up a workshop to produce fine porcelain artworks.
It's kind of like, I always tell people it's kind of like a son returning home. But to stay here, it's almost magical, because not only are you surrounded by the history of porcelain, you also are the mecca of porcelain, and it attracts porcelain artists from all over the world. So instead of me going all over the world, now they all come to me, which is quite nice, because that community has been very strong.
Jingdezhen rose to fame during the Han Dynasty more than 2,000 years ago. Initially, fine porcelain ware crafted at Jingdezhen was meant for China's emperor and imperial court. But via travel along the Silk Road, these treasured artworks found their way across the world. At one time, fine china was even valued over gold. Unlike traditional Chinese ceramic techniques, Labar pays more attention to sculpture.
And this piece I really like because it has a glaze which is quite dynamic, meaning that it changes and reacts to the atmosphere of the kiln in such a way that it seems to mimic what you would get out of a wood kiln. So you get all these little microcrystals when the glaze is thick, and you can see that this was glazed, there's an overlap, and then there's also remnants of how the pieces interact. You can see a little skid mark of how this piece folded and then carried itself across the surface of the blue part. And you witness sort of like this happening that occurred in the kiln, what I call the dance, the orchestration. And then I get to pretend that I'm the conductor, and I've orchestrated this dance in the kiln, and then this is the result.
Labar's life in ceramics seems to be fate, but it's been full of twists and turns. He majored in biology in college, and his parents and teachers wanted him to be a doctor, but he had different ideas.
After I graduated undergraduate, the one thing that I enjoyed doing was ceramics, because I had to take an art class in college. And so I pursued pottery, and I did pottery for a very long time, and then I got into graduate school with pottery and making bowls, vases, cups, and studying a lot of forms from China, from Jingdezhen.
After coming to Jingdezhen, Labar was deeply influenced by its traditional culture and began to try something new, combining Jingdezhen's traditional art style with his own works. He also draws inspiration from collaborating with local artists.
Being in Jingdezhen, you can't help but use the techniques that are around you and some of the styles, the traditional styles. So, of course, there's the cobalt, and I did a collaboration with a local cobalt painter where he painted the parts, very quick sketches of traditional scenes like mountains and lakes and the fishermen, and it was really quite beautiful.
On one early morning, Labar met a special friend, local painter in Jingdezhen.
Please have a seat.
This is Guoji.
Oh, your dog?
Yeah.
And today is their first meeting.
Brian's perfect. Yeah.
Mr. Yang is an artist specializing in painting on ceramics, especially on blue and white porcelain.
Color will burn out at temperature when I fire, so this is fired to temperature to get the clear, and then this is an overglaze, and then it's fired to a lower temperature. So I've never refired my sculpture after it's been created because there's tension. That if I refired it even to a low temperature, it will crack and break.
Oh, that's the reason why.
Maybe.
You never tried that?
Not really.
Back in his workshop, Labar keeps creating as he plans future exhibitions. Although thousands of miles from home, he says Jingdezhen has become a magnet for him, always providing fresh new ideas and inspiration. Li Qiong, CGTN.